believe, and I say that with I'm using loopholes when I say just about everybody, because I was very
skeptical.
Very. Anyway, not important. What is important though is that as a unit we agreed to pursue this direction, and it turned out that the person who we chose or that guided us there was a thief, and
That's a lot of money to steal.
Man, you know what? And so it happened in tranches, and all along the way, every milestone he met, until it was time for him to deliver, and then he started delivering empty boxes, and we were like, hold on, bro, this is crazy. Yeah, that was like a reset on my life. Like it really hurt because I've never ever lost that much money in one setting. Number one. Number two, it was something that I was very passionate about that I was building. I was very, very passionate about that work that I was doing. It was post-COVID, and I was pivoting successfully the business from just general safety wear, like healthcare safety goods, to like actual like construction site safety, workplace safety, that kind of stuff. And we had built relationships with probably like a lot of the top vendors that you could think of, right? Like from hard hats to steel toe boots, high vis wear.
I remember you showing me those boots that were.
Bro, it was nuts.
That we were selling like hotcakes.
Bro, we were selling. Yeah. Oh yeah. Dude, this was. Oh, anyway, we can get into that. That was crazy. When I tell you that's like a product market. When you find a product market fit and it just like blows up, you just don't know what to do. It was crazy. We went from on these boots. We were selling footwear for other brands, $100 a day, like one pair a day. We got this agreement with this one company, and we went from $100 a day, like one pair of boots, to almost $20,000 a day.
It was
in
nuts.
Sales. It was insane. We were going crazy, and still for some reason we decided we were gonna do something different. Anyway, yeah. So they stole $10 million. Your boy was hurt, and then I needed to start therapy.
So what's that first conversation, and walk them through, because definitely if you're a black man, they'd be like, oh man, you need to go to church or some shit. We already don't have nobody to talk to a lot of times that we could trust. You do tell a nigga something, he's probably gonna use that shit against you at some point or call you a bitch. And even more importantly, I know I can't call my dad, and Parker might be able to. I know Jamal can too. He could talk to his dad about anything.
I just can't call my mom.
There you go. It's the opposite. So when you look at the bigger picture, you go, I don't call anybody. And so when I do call guys like Parker, it's like, yo, I got an idea, but as I told Jamal, that I've never really had friends. Yeah. So I don't know what that's like.
Yeah, it's tough. I think it's tough for men generally, right? Regardless of like your personality type or how you are or how you communicate with other people in your day-to-day life. Yeah. Like having a good third-party reference that is clinically trained to help you work through your thoughts is so important. Yeah. Like it's understated how valuable it is. So, for me, I looked at it as an opportunity to like kind of reset my bad habits, my negative feelings, just like the frustrations that I was having with my life at the time due to that loss. Yeah. And so, that is something that I think therapy can help with. I mean, everybody has their different path and their different journey with therapy. But that was mine, right? Loss equaled me realizing that maybe I was the one who caused the loss, right? Yeah. Because I have like a hyper sense of accountability, right? Like everything that happens to me is my fault. Yeah. Like if lightning struck me, it's because I was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Like I did it, And so, so that's kind of where I was coming from. And I think it's good to have that kind of mentality because it's safe, right? Like if you say like, oh, everything's my fault, like obviously not to the point where you're like debilitating yourself, but if you go
But that goes back to men being the highest, like a lot of times we hold ourselves, and the world does too. Like what was the comedian? He said, the world only is nice to babies and women. Yeah. It was Chris Rock. Yeah. They're only like forgiving to those people. So like, men in general, you get hit in the head, get the fuck up. Women get hit in the head, they be like, are you okay, boom? Like we got hit the same way. What? Yeah. It's the same baseball bat.
Yeah. I mean, I get that, right? But at the same time, like we can't change, like we're not going to change society with the four of us on this couch.
No, it's not going to happen. That's not the goal.
So, I can't really like get into all the nitty gritty details of like, sociological nuance. But what I will say is like me at a personal level and a lot of people at a personal level, like the way that you make change in your life, and to like really follow up the previous episode about why I can stay disciplined, is because of the fact that I have gotten so in tune with myself through this third party that has helped me.
And you're saying emotionally in tune or just in tune in
all
general?
the above. All the above, like, hey, emotionally in tune to say, hey, look, these are my triggers. These are the things that keep me going. These are the things that recharge me, right? Here's how to think about certain things or dissect certain problems. And honestly, man, I mean, like even conversationally, like my talk tracks, like when I'm in an emotionally charged situation, are very different. Before it was, fuck you. Now it's like, hey, why do you feel this way? Right? Or like, hey, you know what? Those are your feelings. They don't need to reflect onto me, right?
Yeah.
Like, so it's very different in that sense. Like, you have kids? Yeah, you have kids.
Yeah.
Okay. If are you have kids?
Yeah.
Okay. If y'all have baby mamas, or if anybody out there has baby mamas, this will resonate with you.
Yeah, that's
That's both of us.
Because minute it turns into that kind of relationship, it's a lot of times it's contentious, right?
Yeah.
It's fight mode from their side. You're no longer, Parker Lee, you're no longer this nice character that, was helped raising the kid and build a household. You are a check.
Yeah.
And that mentality is totally different. And so for us as dads, it becomes hard to deal with that person because you're like, well, shit, dude, like you were so nice to me before we broke up. And now I'd fight you if you were a dude.
Yeah.
And some people lose control and do fight their baby mamas, which is next, like get help. But,
especially in Texas, you tripping.
But my point there is to like bring a very real example that we all could a lot of us could resonate with, because you don't have kids, right?
No.
Yeah.
Just no.
Yeah. So for like a real situation is like, but who's accountable for that, right? Who's accountable for the result of that situation? Like we can't change how they feel that we left a relationship or they left a relationship and now all of a sudden we're a check. Like we cannot change that mentality. The only thing that we can do is meet them where they are. And you have to have the capacity to do so. And sometimes like if you are in this charged state with them, you're never going to be on the same page. Like y'all are just always going to be fighting, this is something I suffered from too, is like, I would just go back and forth, just arguing. And it's like, as soon as I step back and I realize like, I'm never going to change this person. I'm never going to be able to like change their image of me. Right. So I'm just going to meet them where they are by delivering what I know will keep me stable and what will keep them stable.
Yeah.
And that's it. Right.
Yeah.
No need for all the extra stuff.
No point to prove.
Yeah. Look, I just went through this weekend, right. With my one of my eldest mothers. She got out the car and was like hooting and hollering and getting all this stuff. And she was just trying to charge me up. And my inner, I just felt it. I was like, oh, I'm going to toast you.
Man.
I got the 5 fingers. I was like, yeah. I just felt it coming. And I was like, you know what?
Don't fold, bro. Don't fold.
Yeah, I was like, you know what? She got the end of her statement. And, I just basically said, I appreciate you advocating for our child. And it left her speechless. She had a couple things to say, but she talked herself out of the situation. She was just like, what?
You mind fucked.
And you know what that's called though, people? My homie called me one time with a situation. I said, you need to master edifying a person. I said, people are going to be mad. People are going to be upset. What they can't handle is when you edify kind of like what they're going through or their emotional state. Because, damn, that is. Because when you say something like, oh, what? Because they want that energy reciprocated, right? Mm-hmm. She want to fight. She probably been fighting her whole life.
100%. Yeah, 100%. I mean, like, I wouldn't say that she's been fighting her whole life. Excuse me. I wouldn't say that she was been fighting her whole life. But yeah, I mean, it's true, man. Some people.
And I don't mean physically. I just like fight with people.
No, yeah. Like some people, they get into that mode and they're like, you know what? I want to fight today.
Yeah.
Like verbally, mentally I want to tussle.
Yeah.
And it's like.
Shit ain't going right, man. So
that's not me.
Yeah. You seek peace now. You like, look, I'm too old to be carrying on like that. I want a level of peace in my life.
Do you know I started balding last year?
Yeah.
As a result of the stress, because I was like carrying so much, and the year before, because of that loss. And so, the therapy, I ain't gonna say like help regrow my hair, but I am far less stressed I got more hair. Like, what are we talking about? like, like it will literally it'll age you.
Yeah.
Right. The stress will age you. And
beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yeah, you wear it on your face, man, everywhere, bro.
Yeah. And so I say all that. That's a lot of words, but I mean, bottom line is like back to being in tune with yourself and knowing the things that you're good at and your strong suits. And then don't let people shake you from your core.
Yeah.
Right. Like if you're going to be a shitty person and that's your nature, hey man, be the shittiest, but like, if you're not, like for me, I'm very like analytical. Like I have goals. So I have to be able to stay focused to that. And something will affect my whole day. Like if I get into it with somebody that is important to me, it will affect my whole day. I can't allow that to happen. Like my days are extremely valuable, as we were just talking about, right? Like, I calculate my time based on the hour. If you gonna mess with my time, like who does that hurt? Like it hurts me more than it hurts you.
Oh, absolutely.
Like all these bad feelings that you left me with because I decided to fight with you. Not only did I lose the time that I fought you with, but now I'm all upset. I can't be productive.
Yeah.
I'm in my feelings and shit.
Yeah.
Like now I'm not worth the same money.
Yeah.
You bitch got in my pockets. Like what? That's insane. Like if you allow that to happen to you, you're disturbed.
So you went to therapy with basically a mentality like, yo, I gotta work on me internally, right?
Yeah.
I gotta improve. And what were the things that you say that it's helped you improve upon? Or I don't want to say, was it a fix or did you go and get fixed, or was it like, oh, I'm more aware now and I know how to manage myself?
Yeah, I certainly feel like I was broken in a sense, right? Like, but not like, like I wasn't a crackhead, like not shaming addiction. Like everybody has their own thing, like, but I would say that I was broken in the sense that I would allow like the things we just talked about. Like I would allow myself to get so spun up, and I'm not a physical person, so it's all words, right? So it's like if someone comes in and messes with my day, even though I would try to push through and persevere, like the fact is that I'm now operating at 20% because the 80% of my headspace is consumed with that problem, right?
Yep.
So now I've learned to triage my feelings more, like and faster, right? So I can get through them more. Or if I can't do that, to add an intervention in there that will help me. So, maybe I can't sit down, like get into an argument or have a conflict and sit down at my desk for another 3 or 4 hours, right then and there, right, and be productive. So maybe what I need to do is I need to go for a walk. I need to read a book. I need to take a power nap, like 10 minutes. Sometimes it's as simple as looking at pictures of my kids, and having a trip down memory lane, So it just varies based on where you are that day, but I would say that that's a big deal, right?
Yeah.
Aside from that, it definitely helped me realize more who I am, which is why I'm really focused in on not being the entrepreneur anymore and focus more on being the investor.
Yeah.
I can cultivate and nurture people. You've seen this, seen this before, at least at arm's length. And that's what I'm good at, right?
I mean, I've seen it just now. I mean, even when you're telling us, it's like, why not? You do what I do to people. And I'm like, hey, why not? Why are you not doing such and such? So he's looking at it. And the irony is even in those moments, I'd be fussing at Jamarcus right all the time. Like, bro, you need to be picking up on this. But to be clear, he's never been an entrepreneur. He has no clue what it looks like. So when you say you got to be more hands-on, you go, okay, I know about ClickFunnels.
Right.
I know somebody who's paid $10,000 to go learn from the ClickFunnels guys. I know how to set up these processes and streamline getting here from 0 to 100.
Yeah.
The irony is, I just got a message 5 days ago where the guy said, hey, can you make a list of all the veggies, such and such? And I'm like this. Now that he said it, I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. You can do it on the website, download it for free, and it just might get them to buy upwards of $50 worth of products.
Exactly. And so like knowing that, and then also, again, back, and like when I say meet people where they are, it's not always negative, right? Like, for me, I'm not like a very I don't like to be very like detail tactical type, right? Like I like to be strategic, and so in that sense I say, well, in these businesses, what do I look for, right? Do I look for someone, if I'm going to be shoulder to shoulder with them, if I make that investment, if it's not just my money but also my time, then like I need to make sure that they're not the same as I am. I don't want them to be like me, because I feel like their skill set might be more important if they were super tactical, super operational, right? So anyway, and again, nobody's better than anybody in those situations. It's just more like you have to know who you are and be able to quickly analyze who other people are from what you need, so you understand what you need from them and how to engage with them.
Yeah.
So long form answer to your question, but like I would say the things that really did it for me were really helped me ground myself in like my strengths and weaknesses.
And therapy, to be clear.
Yes, therapy specifically, and then also how to triage my feelings, especially negative ones, right? And that's led to me. That's waterfalled into me being able to stay disciplined, stay focused, and achieve my goals faster.
And that's also, I'm guessing, allowed you to make sure you know where to stay out of shit so that you don't really get engulfed in that, emotional war per se.
Yes. Yeah.
And that means, I tell you this, a kid reached out, he says, T-Fit, man, or he said, Trev, you got a piece to you now. He said, I was at the club when the dude stepped on my foot and he didn't apologize. I said, nigga, I'm gonna kill you. He said, what would you have done? I said, the same thing. And he bust out laughing. I said, well, I thought you was working on peace. I said, you know what I do? Say the fuck out the club and I got peace. I said, so as long as I'm not in the club, ain't no nigga worried about me or some, he talking to some bitch and she keep looking my way. Now he hostile. She didn't drink 15 drinks with him only to be at the end of the night trying to find me. It didn't turn into a whole thing. He waiting for me because he didn't got her drunk and she's coming.
Yeah.
It just turned into a whole thing. You didn't sign up for, right?
Yeah.
So you go, all those variables I can't control. Guess what I can control? Keep my black ass at home because I'm more valuable to the world doing the work that I'm supposed to do versus going out and kicking it.
Yeah. That brings me to another one. You know what? Like, stop attention seeking. I think that's a good way to globally say it. But for men specifically, I think in today's day and age, because we, women do a great job at seeking validation from each other.
Yeah,
right?
they do. Hey, girl, you look good. Girl, this, girl, that.
So to the men out there, stop seeking attention from bitches and whores.
Please, man.
Like, stay out the streets. That shit will come. And not to say that was my problem, but I definitely felt like the attention-seeking need was certainly a complication of mine. And it, at times I felt the absence of like male influences because I don't carry like a gang of friends with me.
Yeah.
But then also, you're like, well, who's going to validate me?
Yeah.
So then you turn to social media and you do all this other stuff and yada, yada. Therapy definitely helped with that too, for sure.
And that's good. Now, going back to the point you just made, how important do you think now, in a sense, it is to even have friends to help? I won't say mitigate those emotions, but just try to like manage them in a way where not even manage is like I do better by myself because I've always been a dog on a bone, but I'm learning to incorporate these men around me more in my thoughts, and even where I'm going and where I'm headed. And the irony is the bar keeps getting raised collectively, which then, for me, if I was like going through a tough time, I say, oh, you know what? I do want to be better because I really like what Jamal's achieving right now. And I think us working together, we can get there faster. So if I continue to get, be great, maybe we'll all be great. Just when you say the attention thing, I tell people this: attention, don't let it get to you. And that's why I say I built my whole all my pages off of flip flops and mismatched socks and just wearing crazy shit because the value is in the.
Where you get this, man?
Kansas City, Missouri. The value's in the words and the work. The work is all that matters. But I can see where someone, especially social media wise, they really do like, yo, how'd you grow your page? Nigga, if you on my page, then you clearly know why you here. All I do is talk about dogs and education.
Yeah.
What you mean how I grew it?
Yeah. True. Yeah. So, look, man, I mean,
does having friends matter?
Yeah. I was getting there. Yes, it does in a way, for the right people, right? Like for me, it doesn't really shake me. I think that having accountability matters.
Oh my God.
And if friends can help you be accountable, then do that, right?
Yeah.
If your friends can't help you be accountable, then you don't need friends, or you don't need those friends, like really, But that goes back to knowing yourself. Like it's really circular, right? Like you have to figure out who you are first, and then once you do that, you realize, hey, what are your motivators? What are the things that will keep you on the track to achieving the things that you want to achieve, right? So some people are very dependent on others' opinions and their feelings, and that's not me, right? But if that's the case, then for you, and what you might need to raise the bar, that's not bad. It's just you need to make sure you're in an environment surrounded by people that will help you get there, right? Give you another example. I'm motivated to stay away from failure.
Ooh.
Right?
Hey.
I'm very infrequently motivated by success. This is just me, right? And people you'll get some shit about this, potentially. But so what I do, knowing that about myself, but knowing that I have a high need for things, right? And what I say, let me clarify what I say by I'm not motivated by success. Like, I obviously want success, right? But the things that I'm willing to do for success are not as great as the things I'm willing to do to stay away from failure.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's just you repurpose the thought. How you fixate on being successful is like,
So, right.
Let me think about everything that could go wrong and make sure I solve these problems.
Kind of, right? Kind of. So, like, I will set my bar for failure. My bar for failure is high. Can I afford X dollars on my house payment? Can I afford X dollars on this? Did I save this much? Did I invest this much? Right? If I didn't, I failed. Like, I feel that failure.
Yeah.
Right? And so knowing that, I am constantly outrunning that failure. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Where some people are like, I want to make $1 million. Amazing. Like, I'm glad that works for you. My spin on it to make me motivated is like, if I don't make $1 million, I fucked up. Like, I ruined it. Right. And so those are that's a really simple way, in my opinion, to know, of me demonstrating how I know myself and how I've learned myself.
I think the way what you phrase it though is probably more motivating naturally, because if someone says I want to make $1 million, if they don't know how to like you say, almost task getting there in reality, you're like, okay, well, how many hours? All this other stuff, then you never get there. But if you like live in that, hey, I'm about to go into game 7, and we could basically win the championship. But if I don't fucking get 10 assists, fucking 3-4 rebounds, and hit 20 points, we fucking fail. Like the odds of us winning just diminished tremendously, especially if you're one of the guys not even coming off the bench, but like starting, right?
Yeah, for sure. So and I say that because the other thing on mental health is like your capacity for things is different every day, right?
Yeah.
Like, your capacity to perform is different every single day.
Oh yeah.
And so if you know where your bar for failure is, then you will always try to reach for that.
Yeah.
Right. So that's kind of what I mean. So, like, as an example, like, I want to buy a lot of houses this year.
Yeah.
Right. That's one of my goals. And so, in order to buy the number of houses I want, right, I have to make, I think it's like 7 offers a day. Actually, that's the number. 7 offers a day based on my law of averages. Right. Every business day of the week. So
5 days a week, 7 offers a day.
35 offers a week. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So hard offers, and of those 35 offers, 70, 140 a month, roughly, I would say like 10% will get a response, and 5% will actually get some traction. Right? Might be able to buy 2 houses.
Yeah.
Of those. So my failure rate is 7. Right? So if I don't hit 7, I'm mad at myself.
Yeah.
Right? But some days I might do 10.
Yeah.
Right? But tomorrow I need to do 7 again.
Now that's interesting, because what people don't often consider is the minimum requirements that you have to set to be successful.
Yes.
Like, what are the minimum requirements? So for us, it's making sure there's 3 valuable posts a day.
Yeah.
One's educational, one's informational, one's pure entertainment. And I'm like, oh, people are on lunch. They probably want to be entertained. People in the morning, they want to be motivated.
Yeah.
People in the evening, they might want some education as they go into closing out their day, whatever. And sometimes I restructure them, right?
Yeah.
But it goes back to my minimum requirements for growing social media is making sure that there are at least 3 posts a day, 7 days a week,
Yeah.
which I said you're as good as your last 21 posts, because nobody's on social media
Scrolling.
like not on your page.
Not past the grid. Yeah.
Nah, not past the grid. So you go the next post, you got the odds are with you, because you're as good as your last fucking post, to say the least. But I like that. And I would encourage people to potentially implement that ideology.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, dude, you can get into the details of it, but like, it really is important to know yourself and then drive that home. Like, really, like almost abuse it. And I hate to. It's like an aggressive word, but like, once you know yourself, you can lean on that so hard, and you can do so many things with just that, because you can tailor, like I said, like my intervention to to me knowing that I'm not as motivated by success is like by saying my bar for failure is high, right?
Yeah.
Like if I don't achieve these goals or these metrics daily, then I failed myself.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, at the end of the day, objectively, someone will look and be like, okay, well, you were super successful because you achieved those things and you did it, you know? But like,
you tell somebody, well, send 7 offers in and I'll spend my money if it's something that I like a day and give you this much. Like that could be what people don't understand even times like, yo, could you do that? Could you get rejected 7 times a day? Because after the first 2, some people just shift and quit.
Well, yes, you can. That's another thing is like, yeah, man. I mean, look, I think we'll go around that same circle. Yes, if you set yourself a failure goal, you will be able to overcome that rejection because you know, like, and man, I said it's more activity. Like, so now we're going back to the business and like how my therapy and my like personal journey has impacted that. You know, people are going to be kind. People are going to be shitty. You kind of have to get over that. Right?
Yeah.
Like you can't, we're back to like what you can and can't control. And so I say all that because, you know, as long as you're doing your thing and you realize that you have a purpose, hey man, stay to that.
So then answer this for me. At what age did you say you really got to know yourself? Because I told people before.
33, 34.
30.
Yeah.
So you're about 1 year old.
Yeah. It feels that way a lot of times.
I've used this on people. I said, man, you know, you're young, you're pretty wise. I said, because I stopped giving a shit at about 10. I said it, and then they were like, yo, my grandmother even says at 4 years old, she was pushing me on the swing, and she's like, this kid turned around and said he had enough. And at 2 years old, I was able to get both of my grandparents before they passed on my mom's side. I said, you know, hey, Nana, Grandpa, you know, somebody says, how am I so motivated, or, you know, how'd I get so confident? She said, well, she didn't cuss, I ain't gonna say that, but basically, she was just like, you know, at 2, we was like, Trev, can we do such and such? She'd be like, we said no. He said, well, what about tomorrow? She said, you couldn't tell you no at 2. So
tomorrow,
I'm like,
we're gonna do it tomorrow.
Yeah, you go. So I'm like, what makes you guys think now that I was able to apply everything that I've learned and already being an individual at such a young age,
right,
that you're gonna be able to tell me no now? I'm okay with being told no. My rule back in the day was 10 no's a day. Can I find 10 no's a day?
Yeah.
Because 80% of the work is actually in failure.
Yep.
But that 20% that calls, it pays for every fucking thing. And for me, you go ask me to come out and shoot a video, it's 3 bands. And it was a minute video. But I can get it to you the same day, edit it, and there they go. What? I shot a whole fashion show once for SA and Zenibar, who's a big designer. And she had 35 fucking looks. I was there all day. Next day, I called her and said, walk me through the process. So how do you want me to show this dress? So she said, I want the shoulders, the sudden, a full look, a close look, a finished look, and then a walk away. So I wrote down, okay, she wants 7 steps per dress. All I had to do was cut it that way and give her a fucking video. That's workflow versus me trying to guess, right?
Yep.
And boom, she had a full fucking edited look that she was going to throw out there to promote her custom wedding dresses the next day.
Nice.
9 out of 10 people can't do that without a full production company. It was just me and a fucking gimbal.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
I appreciate the failure thing because it definitely means something to me, and I live that way. But when we're you know, even thinking about how it kind of is cohesive in terms of mental health, would you say that you're an overthinker at times?
Not so much as I was anymore.
Yeah.
But yes. Short answer, yes. Long answer is way less than I was before.
Yeah.
And one of the things you implemented to say to get out of your head was what?
Just how does it? I eventually get to the questions like, what is this doing for me? Like, is this overthinking valuable?
Yeah.
And so this is where like the discipline becomes so important. And then saying, all right, well, you know, I'm spending my time on something that's maybe not so valuable or not helping me get towards my goals.
Yeah.
So I need to readjust. I need to fix my behavior.
Yeah.
So.
And did therapy help you do that?
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, 100%, man. I mean, like, and not to say you can't achieve this without therapy. Like, you certainly can. But for me, it was definitely like realizing, like, all right, I'm in my feelings about this. This is what I was saying, like triaging your feelings.
Yeah.
Right. Like, I'm feeling this, or I'm experiencing it. And obviously, as a man, we're not going to be like, oh yeah, I've got my feelings going. You know.
That's also because there's no safe place for you to be like, yo, my man, I'm not doing well today. Hey, is there anything you could? I mean, sometimes it's a matter of though,
and it's not even that severe. Yeah.
Yeah. Can I just pull up and just hang out with you, man? Get out my head.
Yeah. And sometimes it's super like transactional stuff, right? Like you it's stuff that in the hindsight of things is not really significant, but because in the moment you let yourself get so charged, it is important.
Yeah.
And so, so by having, again, the discipline to step back and realize, like, all right, is this important? You know, is this really going to affect, like, these thoughts that I'm having? Are they going to affect my long-term, like, life? Right? And I can guarantee you that a lot of times the answer is no. Yeah. Or if they are, you're still not going to solve the problem by being all emotionally charged up about it.
Yeah.
You know, so that's been like my biggest takeaway. Like I feel like I've repeated myself so many damn times, but that's still
repetition
the answer.
is the master of all skill, because when you go back and you look at yourself, you say, what are some things that basically keep me out of my own way? It sounds like you do a lot of reverse things. So people says, man, Trev, you know, what keeps you motivated? I say, I'm not motivated by living. I'm motivated by how I want to finish this thing, right?
Yeah.
And when you look at that deadline, aka literally that deadline, did I do enough with my time, and could I have done more? And those are the questions. I got to be honest with you. I said, I don't want to answer those one day. Like, yo, could you have did more for, you know, the dogs, your friends, or the people around the world?
Right.
You know, could you have impacted more people? Could you have spoken up more? Like those things, I think those things come more to fruition when it's too late.
Yeah.
Versus in moments where you're like, damn, I should have thought about it this way, versus fucking looking down and just dropping my head and then going in a corner and fucking folding per se.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, maybe getting through your feelings, regardless of what they are, like, is just so important.
So what's your best advice for a man who may be struggling with mental health? The mind is, they say it's a terrible thing to waste, but look, if I cut my arm off right now, my arm would just be gone. You get over it.
Yeah.
That mind, that motherfucker's like a VCR, DVD. That bitch just keep rolling and rolling, and then it affects you. And then sometimes, I know it's crazy. Damn, I didn't know I could feel that way. It be an emotion you ain't felt in a while. You be like, damn, that shit got me tight, man. I don't know how to even deal with this emotion. I'm disappointed.
For sure. Okay, so you know what the thing that really helped me, if I were to say, all right, not everybody's, you know, resource enough to go to therapy, and not everybody's going to take that step, right?
No.
But write down, you know, the 10, maybe a handful of merits or values that are really important to you. Things that just mean a lot to you. Hey, I love my family.
Yeah.
I want them to be healthy, right? You know, I work is really important to me. I want to find enjoyment there, right? Things like that, like almost like affirmations, but a little more complex than that.
Yeah.
And then as you go through your day, think about how you're intentionally pursuing those things. That is where I would start, honestly, because then, you know, and if you practice that, you do that for a week, the next week obviously becomes easier. Like you form habits, right?
Yeah.
But then as things come into your life to interrupt those merits or those values, then it's easier to triage. Like, hey, look, you know what? I know you want to argue about this parking spot. I don't give a shit. Like, or you want to argue about, like, you want to hump somebody's leg for a goddamn coupon at the grocery store. Not really important. Like your baby mama wants to get in your face because you were a day late on child support. Hey, I'm sorry. Hey, I apologize. It's, you know, we're going to try to do better next time. No excuses, that kind of deal.
Yeah.
You know? But like, that's it. Don't get into these sparring matches with people about shit that's not important to you.
It's funny you say that. I wrote an organization up years ago, and I even had Jamarcus go to the program. It's called HI, The Power of Human Interaction. Yep. And part of it is you writing down who you know, I was spiteful, I was hateful, I was angry all the time. All these things that didn't really serve where I was trying to send to, per se. And then I said, you know, I need to learn a little bit more about compassion, and probably not going to be too empathetic, but, you know, I want to impact people in a positive way. And shit, I just need to be more positive. So even when you're saying, hey, we get into an argument, baby mama come out, she's tripping, right? Instead of me tripping, it might be something else going on in her life. Look, get whatever you got to get off your chest. I can take it, but I'm not going to feed it. So look, kid's here, he's safe. You need some, I'll send you something tomorrow. Have a good day. And you got to move on, because I got other shit I got to do. But 9 out of 10 times, even if niggas calling you a bitch ass nigga, it's like, oh, he's going through something. Yeah. Because I don't know who he thinks that. I'm not about to fight this nigga. Yeah. If not, you know, like, nobody's got that kind of time. A nigga fighting at the age we at now, you need a job or something. Like, this nigga ain't got nothing to lose, bro. It's
you know, that's so funny. That is so funny. I haven't been in like a physical altercation in so long, but like I always think about that. Like, we're still men, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, like what would happen if I get into a physical altercation? And I'm
calling the police.
I can't visualize it. I can't visualize.
I don't want to.
Man,
Think about that though, bro.
Like, what's going on?
I don't want to be in any environment that I have to think like that. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It gotta be for family, or situations like that, not just some random shit because you can't fucking digest your day.
No,
And you got to take it out on me. You know what I'm
They
saying?
going through something else, man.
for sure. Like, look, if you've got enough emotional baggage that you willing to inflict violence, like, I will shoot you,
Bro.
Like, you coming at me, I'm gonna shoot your ass.
Yeah, bro.
This is Texas. Like we are Cary. Don't bring that bullshit over here.
I'm trying to tell you, man. But then that just goes back to how do you manage yourself?
Yeah.
In this thing, you say, what are the things of value? I value moments like this. I'm learning to value friendship and being around guys and inclusion, even including people and growth and progress and watching them grow. So does it serve me to go back and forth with niggas online, even about dogs? Like, bro, you're not my community. You're not the people I'm talking. Because what we've learned is 90% who come through, and I'm talking about niggas with purple hair, dreads, holding money. Man, I love everything. I mean, some of them, there's been a nigga mess me, corrected himself when he wrote they to DEY day. So I don't think another nigga could have influenced the dog community the way I have while they're like, yo, this dude's inspiring, man. I can't thank him for being something I couldn't be. But I'm glad that he exists and it helps me out.
For sure.
So we've served a bigger market, and it's because I had to get over myself. So we start looking at mental health. I've never really had friends. Didn't see the value in therapy. I got to be honest, I'm one of them niggas. And then you turn around, I said, well, the craziest conversations you ever really going to have is with yourself. So what's one of the craziest conversations you have with yourself?
Oh,
that's one of my favorite questions to ask, bro.
Yeah. I had like a you ain't shit realization. Like, I really, where I came to realize that, like, how I am motivated, because I'm like, you know what? Like, all these people are motivated by money and doing all this other stuff. And I'm like, man, like, am I just a broke bitch for not, like, being motivated by that?
Yeah.
Like, I've always been well-to-do. I've always been able to, like, do well for myself and, like, achieve at high levels. But, like, I'm not Mark Zuckerberg,
But Mark is bored too. That's why he's fighting it.
But why am I not Mark Zuckerberg? Like, you ain't shit for real. I'm like, man. But fortunately, I realized pretty quickly, like, I am not Mark Zuckerberg. Get over yourself, right? But also, you do have skills that maybe a lot of other people don't, and you can apply them in ways that are unique to you, and you can still find success, right?
Yeah.
And so by doing that, I was really able to, like, again, like, find myself in that sense. And so that's where I say, like, that was a hard conversation, because I was really worried, like, damn, man, like, cause I'm chasing this, I'm trying to motivate myself by money or by all these different feelings. And I'm like, oh man, you know what? Like, but like, then the results aren't coming the way I wanted them to.
Yeah.
So like, man, like, literally, I was like, literally, like, hey man, you might just be residing to, like, this suburban house dad situation. You're gonna be happy with a couple 6 figures a year, like, living this life. You had your pops, like, you sold your businesses or 2, whatever. But now, you just go ahead and be an old fucker, and then just hang it up, chump. That's it. It's over for you. And then I was like, damn, but it ain't over for me. Like, no, I like to do shit.
Yeah. You're too motivated, to say the least. And mind you,
I am motivated, but I'm motivated by failure, or by avoiding failure.
the fear of it.
Yes, and the fear of failure. And I realized in those moments, and after, like, kind of getting to know myself, or really getting to know myself, is that my bar for failure was already really high to the standard, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So some people are like, okay, well, I want a nice condo, I want a nice car, whatever it is. No, like, my failure standard was, like, I want, like, I want a big house to take care of all my kids. And I want all the accoutrements and all the nice things that come with that, right? That was my bar for failure. So as long as I was doing that, I was like, okay, well, I'm feeling good. Well, now I'm realizing that in order to stay motivated beyond where I am today, I have to move the goalpost every day for myself. And so that's why I say like, so I set my annual goals, but I condense them into a 90-day cycle.
Yeah.
Right. And so if I don't hit that activity to reach that, I failed myself.
Yeah.
Right. Now I might not get the results in 90 days. Like it's very realistic that I wouldn't, but if I end the year and I hit 85% of my goals, hey man, y'all ain't gonna be able to tell me shit.
I mean, but you also,
you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
and how many? Let's have a real conversation though, right? Let's have it about goals. Is how many times do you set a goal and have actually achieved it by the end of the year? Like, if you set 10 goals, how many of those did you get knocked out?
Bro, that was my problem though. Setting too many goals.
Well, no, yeah, okay, maybe that is
Yeah.
it. So that is your problem. So that's part of knowing yourself.
Yeah.
But then you set 10 goals, you probably achieved not many of them.
No, maybe one.
Yeah.
What about you?
Shit, I overdid it, and then I simplified it moving in the last 3 years, and
Yeah.
I, in that in me simplifying it, I was able to kind of surpass it. So it was
Good.
1 year I was like, okay, cool. What do I want to be known as, or how do I want me to build into this entrepreneurial spirit?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna set a couple businesses up.
Okay.
I'm gonna start a couple ventures. Did
Yeah.
it. I want to get in shape. I want to be bigger than I ever was. Did it. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Now it's like, okay, now I want to be athletic. I want to, get deeper with my Rolodex of contacts so I can get into a different field. I'm doing it. So I kind of simplified it
Yeah.
so I could be able to touch those.
So-
And I'm with him too, because I told you I set one goal last year.
Yeah.
I look at 20 years of work though. So I like that you did it in one, but I go,
Yeah.
if I really put on paper, I think we could sell a couple business ideas based on market and what's going on at $1 billion. That's 15, 20 years of work.
like shit.
And 2 to 3 just in branding and building and finding out what the business really is. Cause in the dog space, it's fucking the wild, wild west. It's like Bitcoin or some shit. It's like anything could happen. It's a secret society
Yeah.
of people selling these dogs. But guess who's getting most of the money? That's the vets, because these dogs all come with problems. So that market's kind of like, oh, that's going to grow because
Yeah.
there'll be more pet parents. But I think, like Parker said too, reality is a real thing. And I studied the best of them. So for me, shout out to all the black people trying to start business. Let me be very clear. If the best of them who were on average given 100,000, 300,000, had a board, millions of dollars to start, y'all can't get $2 from your mama. Look, when you have a big dream, high hopes, set real goals, because if the best of them took 15, 20, I guarantee you ain't gonna do it in 3 or 18 months. And you only do it in 18 months when you come across guys like Parker or other investors I know, because they know how to streamline your process and speed up efficiencies, boost scale, or get you to scale up and do all the things that you have no clue that you need to do even.
You
Yeah.
said you hit it right on the head though. It's about, like you said, simplifying. You know what I mean? And it's like quality over quantity. You know what I mean? It's like, damn man, I want to get Micah in a better school district. Okay, shit, we did it.
Yeah.
We started in Irvin, had a cool crib.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, the school district's not the best. Let's go to Frisco. So it's like I kept, in my realm, in my levels of what I got access to, I kept trying to push the bar.
Yeah.
And then see what I could get around to learn more, to do
Yeah.
more. You know what I mean? So
Here's what I would say though, is that you obviously will have qualitative goals,
Yeah.
but set some quantitative goals. And not that you won't achieve them. It sounds like if you've done a good job doing it thus far, you're good. But then I would say, if you've achieved all your goals, are you setting the bar high enough?
no, I for sure know. Yeah, I gotta push
Yeah,
it up. Gotta
like,
up
for
the
sure.
score, bro.
Yeah.
So when I look at goals, I say they're goals for a reason, right? Like you kind of shoot amongst shoot for the moon, be amongst the stars kind of deal.
Yeah.
And so, not to say that you shouldn't hit your goals, but if you do hit your goals easily, you got to step them up, right? Or if you do hit 100% of the time, you're just not high enough.
Yeah.
So, and then again,
He's right. And I can tell you
Absolutely,
that
yeah.
because I told Jamarcus, I said, hey, when the first litter leaves, that was Bam Bam and like Cha-Cha's litter, which was almost a year ago now. They'd be 2 in June? I said, we'll be at least 10,000 followers. Motherfucker, we got the goddamn 100,000 we grew 100,000 in a week on Instagram, and it's all active. And you go, damn, we went from it was like 700,000 from like 100,000 in 1 month. I go, oh shit. And mind you, that's me lowballing, because I'm like, oh, it's gonna take the next litter. That's gonna be the one where everything changes. And that one, 1.2, every number start doubling, right?
YouTube, we went 50 to 250,000.
Rich,
Crazy.
my homeboy Rich, he'll be on another one. He said, I remember when you got the plaque from YouTube. I feel like that was just yesterday. And that was last year, people. We went from 83 followers to 600 plus thousand in a year time. And mind you, I don't know what the bars are. So when he said it, now you go, oh, we need to be doubling this every year.
Yeah.
I want the red plaque. Red plaque means you got 10 million subscribers on YouTube. But this is why I got the stuff. I say, I think between myself, Maul, and us going out and being amongst more people, we can scale. Now I know what the work looks like. So 2024 is all about doing even stuff that Parker suggested, doubling down on everything so we can scale this thing to real size and then get an idea of what that looks like so we can double the next year and the next year and then get into all the other stuff I think we'll be able to achieve.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think that just goal setting and being disciplined and to that is super key. But just knowing yourself, man. I know we were talking about the therapy side, but
no, that's huge though.
Hey, man, you know, like if you get in tune with yourself, it changes everything. I mean, like,
but that's in tune with in your case, and I think all of our cases, and who we're not even. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Because most time men think you got to be the man. I'm like this, nigga. I'm about to go back to this room, and my motherfucker, I ain't got to be nothing, nigga. Yeah. That's the thing, but you get into that pride, especially if you're around the wrong people, right?
Yeah.
They'll egg you on, then you been and got shot and killed on some dumb shit.
Yeah. Yeah, no, like you definitely have to realize who you're not. I would agree. You know, and I had that time in my life too where I was like, you know, like it's like when I had that first exit, I was partying, going crazy, and it feels good for a little bit, and then like the next day you're always struggling, like, man, what did I do? Why did I go out and go so hard? And then you start having the regret. But then you check out for 2 weeks and you come back, you be like, hey, let's do it again. Yeah, let's go crazy.
I'll see y'all next week.
It's like, damn. And then like again, that's just is a tribute to the mental space that you're at, right? Like knowing who you are and what brings you fulfillment. And if you can't do that and put those things together, then it will be like a constant cycle. Like you'll continually to do that. Especially, and this is another challenge I had, chasing women, you know, like I don't have that's kind of disappeared a lot recently or like in the last years or so. But like, you know, chasing women was always a big thing for me when I was growing up. It's like, always want the girls, always want, you know, get that attention.
That goes back to that needing acknowledgement too. Huh?
Yeah. And I think that's super huge for, you know, whoever is in the audience that's like in, you know, any man or woman, right? Like, if you don't know yourself and you are seeking that affirmation from somewhere, it's not going to come.
Yeah.
You know,
it turns into a drug though, right?
It does.
Now you need it.
Yeah, exactly.
And it gets real expensive.
Oh man, dude, it's the worst. It's the worst. You know, if I need the sparklers at the club to tell me that I'm the shit, like I got problems. Bro. I've had those problems. Yeah. You know, like how many sparklers do I have? Okay, I have equated to this many sparklers. That's my level of being the shit for tonight. Yeah. But guess what? Tomorrow, those sparklers are gone.
Yep. Yeah.
You know,
the 4th of July gone. Need another pop tomorrow.
Yeah, need it. So, so yeah, I mean, like that's what I think is so critical is like if someone can sit down and really study themselves and then really understand how the world around them, how their thumbprint on the world around them and how they can be impactful. Dude, that person is dangerous.
And that goes back to values too, people. You know, Parker's a value, and I love the fact that he acknowledged, like, yeah, it does kind of feel like I'm 1 year old since I'm really just getting to know myself. And part of myself, I'm still, of course, I think we all going to get to know ourselves over the next 20, 50, you know, 40 years if we're blessed to be alive and well. But
it doesn't stop.
It doesn't stop. But then you go, okay, there's this thing, you know, wrapped in men being tough even. You know, you got to tough it out. When in retrospect, we're no different in terms of needing mental stimulation,
right?
And some forms of mental intimacy at times. Women, I need this and that. You go, well, shit, I need a hug and a kiss, or you know, someone to just pause with per se.
Oh yeah. Well, if you want to get into relational stuff, yes, absolutely.
You know what's crazy? I before Parker came in here, this morning I seen a meme on Instagram, and it was like it showed two people on both sides of the photo working and getting the same results or whatever. And it pretty much was saying like, it comes down to knowing yourself. It's like you could be consistently doing something the wrong way and not know how to fix it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like just wasting time. You know what I mean? And it's like if you don't identify with yourself and what's going on, it's like shit. you're causing yourself the distress. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy.
Yeah.
How many men you now to comment what Maul said too is I said this one time on IG. I said it's crazy that two people could want to be together and work towards the exact opposite way. I literally like, well, what do you mean? I'm like, y'all both want to be together, but you can't listen and he can't lead.
Yeah.
I said, so which means neither one of y'all can learn, so neither one of y'all gonna grow. So what are y'all always doing? Fucking fighting.
Just
Sound
making
like he's
bad
preaching.
decisions.
I said, now
preaching.
imagine if somebody listen, somebody embraces leadership, and then y'all both learn to work together.
Yeah.
God damn, y'all motherfuckers might grow. They said, damn, well, how you know so much about relationships? You don't even like people. I said, because I have to lead a lot of people. And that requires me to shut the fuck up a lot of times and really hear them out. Because if I don't find a way to communicate effectively,
For sure.
we'll be, they might feel, oh, I'm scared. I don't want them to be afraid. Come to me with anything. And the best thing you could do, again, I'm going to say this because Parker, he's an investor. And one day I definitely want to be in them shoes too. The best thing you can do is call the person who knows.
Yeah.
So some people's like, you'll burn your burn rate. You'll burn through all your money, putting your pride in. Like, I'm not going to fail. Bruh, you call me because you were failing, or you call me because you want to really be successful. Call me so we can make sure we stay successful.
Yeah.
And that means put your pride, ego, and everything else aside so you can keep growing. Now, we won't keep you too much longer because hopefully we
Sorry,
get
I was looking at the truck yard up here
Yeah.
and seeing the different
that zoned him out. He's like, trucks. Fuck them trucks.
them trucks. Hey, trucks.
If you had to give, any men or people advice on dealing with mental stress, strife, duress, pain, whatever, growth, what would be some things you could put in a box and say, look, these are the things that work for me. These are things that I've implemented even to manage myself and at times, and if not all the time, and staying organized emotionally, all that stuff.
So one, embrace it all, right? Definitely embrace it all. Like, it happened. Do not reject that it happened.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, if it's an event, if it's a series of events, if it's a feeling, right? A lot of times we reject the things that happen to us because we think that we're too good or we're not good enough if they're good things, right? Like I've been there for sure.
Yeah, man.
And so
I don't know if you even said off camera or on camera which one it was, but you said when you had that exit, you felt like you didn't deserve it.
I felt like I didn't deserve it.
Isn't that crazy? You work as hard as you work to be strategic and look at the bigger picture and get out, get this big check. You go, did I deserve that?
Yeah. No.
Work for it. Why wouldn't you?
Exactly. Right. And so, just acknowledge that it happened, be accountable for it happening. Right.
Yeah.
Again, same thing. If it's good or if it's bad, you have to be accountable for it. And then beyond that, I'd say that like once you talk about the go forward, like, that's how you settle in it. Right. So you have to, it's important to feel your feelings at times and know, right. But then after you do that for a little bit, when I mean a little bit, like as little time as possible, right. Triage that. So, okay, I'm not good enough. Why? Let's start figuring it out. Well, did I do this? Did I do that? Right. Et cetera. Are these things valuable? Yes, they are value adds. Get to the point where they are valuable, right? And then beyond that, if it's in the negative, same thing. Like, okay, why did this happen?
Yeah.
Right? How do I make sure it doesn't happen again? What was my part in this? Right? And then answer those questions against those values that we were talking about earlier, right? Hey, look, okay, if I'm going to solve this problem, or if I'm going to solve this so it doesn't happen again, how do I do so that I can be available to my family? Because did this take time away from my family? Probably, right? And maybe it didn't take time, it took energy. Maybe it didn't take energy, it took focus.
I tell people you run out of one or two things first. You're either gonna run out of energy or you're gonna run out of time. Which one's worst?
Yeah. And may not have taken any of the above. Like, and again, you don't realize how much 10% of your attention or your focus is on a subject, right? Like, for example, I had my kids all together for the holidays, which is super awesome. And, previously I would have taken them to like the jump place, like, these trampoline parks. And I would find myself sitting down scrolling on my phone, right? Me being in new headspace, I'm finding myself like I wasn't capable of jumping that time because my legs were like crazy, sore from working out. But like I followed them around. I made sure they had their time. They were enjoying themselves. Like I was talking to them, while they were doing their things. So even though like I wasn't physically capable because I had something else that I felt was more important to me, like by going to work out, that's important for my mental health, my clarity. But but how much more valuable was that time for them that I was able to like be with them, walking around, talking to them, enjoying that time with them, or giving them the simulation that time was, was mutually shared, versus me sitting down on my phone on the couches with all the other moms and dads scrolling on my, on my phone. And it's like, not to shame anybody if that's something that you feel is a priority for you, but like for me, it is not a priority. And so I was able to because of shit happened to me that day. Like, other stuff had happened, but I was able to triage all those feelings so that I could have the mental, the intention and the focus on being there with my kids and enjoying that time. So that's very small, like very, very small example, but
I think it's a big example when you think about engagement, and even like right now, we're sitting here, we're on a podcast, we're talking, and we're giving people free information to a degree. And most it's about ourselves. So we're exposing part of, the way in which we think, what we've gone through, who we are, to potentially a lot of people. And so far, as I said, this thing has been working more than I thought it would early on. But it is because of the work that we've done that it helps people say, I want to hear more. Yeah. I'd love to learn more about what you guys got going on. And he's a person who's, again, I've had great conversation with him. This is another great conversation. And I repeat, we're learning how to be better men. And, this is a group of men I think, long term, we can continue to learn from in general. Yeah. So you guys got any advice? Because, mind you, mine's very simple. I stay out of my head. I stay out of my way. If you hear me hollering at somebody, then, I'm never going to come in and then redirect that towards another person. Right. They'd be like, yo, you good? I'm like, yeah, how you doing? You good? Like, oh, shit.
Facts. That's important too.
Yeah, man. Yeah, no, man. The only thing I can say is just to piggyback on both of you guys is just, it's mental warfare, man. So it's just like, just if you're not able to go to therapy or you're not able, you got to do something therapeutic to just kind of reset.
100%.
And, like just realign with what you're trying to do. Sometimes it could, go listen to some Sade, go listen to some music, listen to some classical music, some jazz. Go walk around, like just look at something that you could admire that could just kind of reshift you. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And, give you some more dopamine to go back out there and get on top of what you're trying to do. So,
yeah, man. And that also just goes back to really just paying attention to, what you got going around you in terms of your settings as well, too. Even Trev was talking about earlier about, people, who would you call in this situation? Like for me, like my situation arose when I was like going through all this mental stuff with hating my job when I was bartending and trying to figure out what the next step was before I transitioned to real estate. I remember on my way to work one day, I had felt all this anger and this pressure built up. I just didn't know what to do. So I just called Trev and he said two things. And I was like, after that, I felt the world just come right off my shoulders. I walked right into work like, hey, you guys got 6 months to replace me because at the top of the year I'm leaving. And that was that. And then that's what transitioned everything to where we are now. But crazy. It's just one of those things is even leveraging your settings and the people around you.
It's true.
Hey, Pete, man, so you saying you also do real estate, right?
I buy real estate. I used to do some wholesaling.
Okay.
But I have backed away from that. Yeah. It's not long-term value added for me. Like it's like the
he has access to a lot of homes.
Do you? Like like what, tax sales or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Out of Tarrant County. Got a pretty decent got some pretty decent resources, so I'm always trying to figure out how I can plug and play.
Sure.
You
Okay.
know what I mean? Make
they
it make
buy
sense.
a lot off camera. He'll explain better in detail. But
let's chop that up again a little bit later. But
I'll give him your number so he can start sending you stuff to look at.
I was just going to tell you, just if you want to be found, you know what I'm saying, tell the people where to find you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. The place to find me is Instagram. Watch.Parker. Yeah. Watch.Parker. And that's, I think, my handle on pretty much everything.
Yeah.
If you want me to look at your company for investment, it's IdeaWorks with an X, ideaworks.co.
There you go.
And that's it, man. Like we're just, shoot me ideas. You got business problems, I'm happy to help with those.
Yeah.
I do a lot of like, what do you call? I don't want to call it free, but
well, I think so.
What is it called when you do stuff
pro bono?
Thank you.
Yeah.
I had a brain fart.
No, you good. Pro bono's
hungry.
Hey, look, he's a guy who I was telling Jamal. I said, and I keep throwing the black thing out there, and mind you, is because I didn't know that. I've always had success with white people. That's just the truth. And so when I told my mom, I said, Mom, I said these Negroes are following me. And I was like, yo, they are really tuning in. She was like, black people? And my mom was black, to be clear. I said, yes, it's nuts. I ain't even been around Negroes like that. Most time it was more 5 in a room. I ain't fucking with it. Dang. I'm like, this ain't safe. But I got to be honest. That's just my truth, to say the least. But I was raised in a tumultuous environment, so I know what it's like to survive.
Yeah.
Not a tough guy, but I know how to survive. So my point is when Parker potentially is going to look at your ideas, bring a good idea to him and be open-minded, because he's going to poke holes just like he did with us. And he's done it many times.
Yeah.
That's why I go to him. But the big point was, I thought it'd be important one day to create a blackboard where people could do what you're talking about and bounce ideas, because we're not given the boards like a Steve Jobs or like a Amazon and others.
Yeah. Don't get me started on this.
Yeah, no, that's that. but and it's again, it's just one of those things where when you start talking about even mental health, I know some people who I think have good, genuine hearts and they really want to do good and start something, but they are so clueless about business and how the world really work.
Yeah,
you go, my man, and I was too. I said, it wasn't getting the LLC that taught me business. It was the first time somebody said, hey, can you write up a contract and tell me a proposal? I'm like, damn, I ain't wrote no fucking proposal. Mm-hmm. That's business. Doing business isn't saying I got a name. It's fucking like, doing business. What are the terms? What are this? Even him saying, hey, I invest, go to Idea Works with an X. That's his process to basically looking at where he might want to invest some time. And time, Mark Cuban says all the time, his biggest RO everything is how did he get a return on time?
Yeah.
I got plenty of money. I don't need any more money. He said, but I want to make sure if I'm going to be a part of what you're doing, then it's a return on time at least. I want to see you grow.
For sure. So you brought something up that I don't know if it was intentional or not, but this is also important for, I think, mental health.
Yeah.
Is lose the sense of entitlement.
Woo.
Mm. Like, you don't deserve it until you do. I'm looking straight into the camera for this one. You don't deserve it until you do. And not that, like, we can't get lucky and fall into something that, is maybe above our means or whatever it is, or like, we get higher results for the work that we put in. But the average will always be that you will work hard, you will produce good results, right? And the people who work harder get luckier, right? So just realize that into the board seat situation.
Yeah.
You're not talking about this with me because I've been dicking around, for the last 10 years of my working career.
No.
We're talking about this because I've made a fuck ton of money. I've lost a fuck ton of money. And I can do it all over again in multiples, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so so that applies universally to people. Like, I do that. That will get my goat every time. Like every fucking time, dog. Like when I hear people like come out of the community, be like, "Oh man, you're another black dude. You need to give me this," or I'm also Jewish. Oh, come on, man. Like we gotta stick. Fuck you. Like, honestly, not that I don't appreciate people of color doing things or people coming from disenfranchised environments doing things. But that does not lower the bar for you.
No,
you need to fucking perform.
Look, man, when I say the bar's higher, because if the expectations naturally already failure from the other side, then you've got to be Parker. You got to be me when it comes to clarity. People say, man, I love the way this nigga talk. This isn't a facade. I was taught to articulate. My grandmother was a second grade teacher. So instead of saying nasty at 5 years old, I had to say insipid. Like there's no happenstance that I have a decent vocabulary, and it's because everyone forced me to read and write on both sides of the family. To be clear, I had to write my dad papers, etc. So now, fast forward, as he said, and even then, you got to watch this episode of Earn Leisure thing because the dude says, you know why venture's important? Because we did it. He said, we lost, we won, and we know how to make sure you don't fuck this thing up real bad. And if we believe in it, we'll give you that $1. It is not because, like you said, you're entitled. It's because we want 10x on our money.
Yeah.
If not more.
You were not entitled to my money. At all. I had someone get mad at me because I was like, hey, I asked them a couple qualifying questions, and they were like, I said, hey, do you have a website? No. Do you have this or no? And mind you, like, I understand that the place where I invest is early stage. I said, okay, cool.
Do
you have a business plan? No. I said, hey, look, when you have all those things, write me back. Let me know. I'll talk to you. And because I know I'm early, so I know I'm not going to get the highest polished people. I'm not going to get the best in that sense, but I'm willing to polish them. But like, then I posted a story or something on my Instagram of me and my wife doing some shit that they felt was expensive. And they were like, how dare you?
Oh my god!
How dare you live your life?
Exactly.
Dare you? How could you live?
Easy. Watch.
Yeah, watch this. I'll film myself at the next time I go to
Damn.
the boutique for final watch. Go fuck yourself. So
But so for one, when I hear him say those things, I'd love to see this guy and even myself. I think part of what we're doing is it could provide some big exits, for even people like himself. But I want to see him personally on a platform where he gets to make big choices. I can see him sitting on a Shark Tank panel and making things make sense and helping people potentially build businesses. But even himself knows like, oh, I'm gonna get the peasants that want to get out of the fucking farm first.
Yeah.
And that's not always the case, but it's like,
look, man, I look at seed and venture seed capital or like that level of investing as like me. It's almost charitable in the sense because I know my losses will be higher, but my returns will be ridiculous, right? But to your point of like my platform, what I'm doing a lot of now is I'm definitely trying to be more present on social media.
Yeah,
I'm trying to be more of myself instead of like the facade of like I got it, So you're gonna see a lot of more if you follow me on Instagram, you will see a lot of random ass photos of me, my babies, and shit. But then I will always circle back. I do a lot of I write white papers on LinkedIn, write case studies and things like that. Do a lot of studies on business performance. And,
I think you need to do the green screen, kind of like the dude from Earning that does the like, hey, reporting such is those things that people don't see that you're interested in.
Maybe.
Because video is more scalable now.
Yeah.
And even I posted a thing the other day with the CEO or one of the guys from Google.
Yeah.
He was just talking about how podcasts these are your odds.
Yeah.
This is how many fucking blogs work. This is how many podcasts is you got a 1 in 7 chance versus a 1 in a million chance of being found digitally by way of words, right? Mm-hmm. So even with this, you go, man, these clips, we're going to cut at least 7 to 10 for you to post as well.
Yeah.
And be it on here where you go, and mind you, I've always been supportive of your growth on all platforms. Like, yo, you got to do more, man. You're very valuable.
I appreciate that.
And that'll bring more people your way anyway.
Yeah.
And the right people, hopefully. So you can make.
Yeah. I've debated on like doing different things like podcast myself.
Yeah.
I just don't want to sit up and talk about, like, it's hard for me because I'm not like that buttoned up business conversation.
Nobody, Milet or Forcellus,
like,
whatever these guys, nobody is, man.
I'm gonna, I would like to bring entrepreneurs on my podcast, and like rip their shit up.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
Like that.
Let's look
because
That'd be
that's
cool.
honestly that's what I'm good at.
Yeah.
Then let's do. Look, what I told the guys is somebody says, "Are y'all gonna be talking about dogs?"
You got firsthand experience.
I sure did, and I'm glad though. I'm personally glad. Like, and that goes back to what you were saying about that guy who said he was entitled to you, how you're living your life. That's where you got to take your ego and your pride off, put that aside, and be willing to accept constructive criticism.
Parker, since you said something, this is the part. Look, Jamarcus, he gets these talks every now and then, probably about every day. But one of the challenges is
he's growing though, man.
He is. So get this. But fast forward, rewind. Maul said almost 2 weeks ago now, hey, because his investor called and said, where can I put some money? His guy got a lot of money, like a lot of money. And long story short, he says, where can I put some money in someone? He said, I'm backing my interests out, and I need to put money in places so that I don't have to watch it. Do you know somebody? He's like, I know a guy. Me, of course. And then when Jamal's asking money questions, he said, could you put that on paper? So you go, that should have been done the next day.
Yeah.
Because you have access to all the numbers. Right. Fast forward, you walk in here asking the same stuff Maul told him, could you put that on paper 2 weeks ago? And I was going to say, and I even last night, when I was building some Legos, I said, I said, could you have done more the other day? And he said, yeah, that's for you. I did everything I was supposed to do because I have my task mapped out and what we need to get out there. But that same questions you asked, he could have been prepared for had he really heard. And mind you, my growth, the company's growth, it makes everybody grow.
Yeah.
It's that simple. Mm-hmm. So I love that you back, like that's part 2. You go, damn. Another person asked him to do the same thing, and he looked like a deer in the headlights.
Yeah, look, I don't like to shame people, and that's certainly not the goal.
Bruh.
My hope is always to add value, right?
Mm-hmm. So and those are valuable questions.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
I agree.
Like my thing is like, if you're gonna bring an idea, you better be ready to defend that motherfucker.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
and y'all were high key. Like, I will tell you that you weren't here for this experience or wherever. I forget where we were. You came to my office.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I might have roasted y'all a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And,
You did.
but-
You told us exactly what we needed to do too.
But y'all really stood on business.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they was like, no, it's gonna work. This,
Yeah.
you know,
Bruh.
like we might make some change, but it's gonna work. And I think it will.
People
I do.
laughed at me. They didn't laugh, but some people recently they reached out. They said, "You know what? When you said something about them dogs 2 years ago, I was like, okay, whatever." He said like this: "Can you help me with my social media now?" Damn. And you like, I fucking told you I was going to do
Yeah.
this.
You know
And
the crazy part is you should still help them. No, here's why. Here's why. Because you know what? Like that person who's tripping about the money,
Yeah,
I'm still gonna invest in their business if it makes sense. If it makes sense, obviously.
of course.
Because I'm gonna make money too. You're like, duh.
Yeah.
Shit it just got to be buttoned up correctly.
Yeah, like obviously I'm not gonna just give you money, but yeah, like you know, you bring the fucking idea. Like I don't, you call me a bitch, I'm gonna give you my money. And
Hey,
you gonna give
that's
me more
when
money
you're-
back. That's how it's gonna work.
And mind you, people, a good idea. We can sit on this couch for the next 365 days and talk about good ideas. If we don't execute anything or bring
Yeah.
anything into life, the original person, I was going to give him 33% of the business, right?
Oh yeah, no.
And get this, all he had to do was give me his context because he'd been building supplements for over 20 years.
Yeah.
And he wouldn't do it.
No.
And so I said, well, if you can't help me and I have to go and learn what you learn, I have to quit here because I was doing all this marketing for him with
Yeah.
the cameras. And in 8 weeks, I'll have a product.
Yeah.
That was that.
Here's what I would say to people is like, don't give away equity until you absolutely have to.
Yeah.
You know, like, and everybody has a different threshold for that. And as an investor, like that's the last thing I really want to be saying.
Yeah.
Because I want to get you early. I want to get you early. I want to take all the skin off your
But
ass.
so then tell them what they should look for in an investor, because
Yeah.
even when people have brought money to me, you know, there's a few people I would take money from. Rich is one because he literally manages $250+ million a year. He's a guy who's a big thinker. Parker's one because again, big thinker. He's really sitting into the investment space
Yeah.
and understand stuff. But like the other people are like, yo, Trev, I got 50 bands I'll give you. I'm like, my nigga, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
You know, you got
all money's
money,
not good money. Yeah,
yeah,
for sure.
you're an idiot. You couldn't add value.
Yeah, I would say the things that you got to look for in an investor is just, you know, someone that you could value, right?
Yeah.
If you have, and also it goes back to what your fucking needs are. Do you need this person to be engaged with you every day? Like sometimes there are some investments that do need a lot of hand-holding, like in complex environments, like say you're doing something in the financial institutions.
Oh, yeah.
Like you kind of need investors that have like plugs into that, right? But you know, if you're working into like retail, you know, okay, maybe not. You know, you don't need someone who has a commercial building. Like it's nice, but it's just not a requirement. You know what I mean? Like it's not going to be like a huge barrier to entry to go get you a retail space.
Yeah.
So it's that kind of stuff. Like that's what I mean. Like all money's not good money. And then also know what your investor terms are, because let me tell you something. I've taken on investors and I've invested, and I make sure that my terms are tight.
Yeah.
Right. And I learned this because I took on an investor once, and he was so far up my ass. I swear, man, he would put his foot up my ass every single week. And not that like we were arguing. Yeah, we were arguing. Yeah, he was pissy, but like, dude, you ever heard that line from Major Payne? I put my foot so far up your ass, the water on my knee will quench your thirst.
Yeah.
Bro, that was him. He was
on your ass.
Oh, dude, every week. And you know what? In hindsight, I didn't even need his fucking money. Like I didn't. I wanted it because I was like, all right, he'd be good because he was connected, but like I didn't even need it. Like
You needed a business card and a friendship more than you needed his dollar.
The way that I needed money after the business got rolling, he wasn't valuable.
So let me paint a picture, people, because even when, again, I've got a good sensibility in terms of investment. When Dan Tassin invested in me, he owned 90 hospitals. He owned the land, he owned the surgical equipment, he owned the management structure. So he got money from when the surgeon walked in the door, he got paid, right? And so you say, why do I need this guy? Well, I don't know anything about real estate. I don't know anything about hospitals. I don't know a lot of stuff in the healthcare space. Fast forward, we built our first playpen and we want to put it downtown or something like that,
Yeah.
Between Parker and some other people, you go, hey, well, let's put this doggy daycare down there. We're going to start drawing blood. Oh, well, that's right. He ran a dog. And we're going to collect data and see what type of, how much vitamin E the dog has if they're taking this food. I'll be able to study this stuff, store it, and then leverage this information by partnering with other companies who can manage disease like 5 Strands and others, getting these tests done, and then continue to improve dog outcomes in terms of health-related issues long-term from bad breeders and just dog food oftentimes, if we're being honest. That's why you would take money from this guy, because long-term, if I make 5 phone calls a month to him in 30 days and we made 1 major move a month, we would get that much further ahead than me trying to figure out how to do all these things on my own.
Yeah.
I don't need to be great at everything. I've learned very quickly. I'm like the Jobs, like Walt and them guys. Let me go and create and build this idea of I'm going to build Candyland for dogs. Yeah. And they're going to buy it. They're going to buy into
for dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
I dig that.
Yeah. And then you turn around and you say, but I'm going to work and turn into a whole business. Just like we go to the Star, I want fucking Pangea and people walking.
Willy Wonka.
but and then think about it like this. Even what he said, what person don't see a dog and turn into a kid?
Yeah.
So we got to tap into that kid
Yeah, no, stay passionate about it, man.
Yeah.
You guys are doing the right thing.
Yeah. But anywho, people, we talked a little bit about mental health. This was another good episode, man.
Yeah.
What I love about this guy is we can go, as he said, so many directions, and all of